We're going to be doing something a little different for this in-depth. We are looking at every single umpire call of the game and seeing whether they were correct or incorrect. We can't look at all the non-decisions, otherwise this video would be an hour long. So for now and in the near future, focusing just on the calls paid by the umpires. If this is something you want to see more of, leave a like and let me know in the comments down below. Straight away, Neil being held by Hewitt 3 seconds into the game, holding onto the jersey, no doubt of this one. Cameron unloads a ball inside 50 towards Gunston, who has the time and space but forgets his clown shoes. Fresh airy, the kick. The ball never really sat for him, but nevertheless, opportunity wasted early on. The Blues put themselves under some silly pressure in their defensive 50. Akers has no one to kick it to, so a sideways handball will do. Wiedering ends up with it, who has to throw it onto his left in hope, but coughs it up and the Lions capitalise on the errors made from the Blues. Replay shows that literally no Carlton player wants the ball, nor are there any tools to kick the ball to. We're only 3 minutes or so into the game and Carlton look as though they don't want to be there. Two players with their backs towards the footy and Akers just nowhere to go. Sard's brilliant cut-off handball in the middle of the ground and the big boot to go with it to a couple of one-on-ones. Ball spills to the deck and Doherty in his 150th gets Carlton on the board. Motlop sidesteps and breaks one tackle and meets a crunching Ainsworth and the ball is dislodged from Motlop's hands. Slow this one down and we know that he has had prior opportunity with the sidestep and the fen to then the Ainsworth tackle, which knocks the ball out of the hands of Motlop. The decision holding the ball was paid, though could have well been play on as the ball was knocked clearly out of possession, and in the replay it shows that he was actually in the motion of handballing this out, and by doing so it's knocked out, but the umpire is blindsided. Danaher on the end of one absolutely blasts this into oblivion and beyond, a thumping kick which we've seen him do before given the subdued celebration. Sharp takes on the tackler, breaks free, but Hollands with the strong tackle and wins the free kick for holding the ball. Prior opportunity with the shrug and slight sidestep. Andrews interferes with Mackay's arm, and live this didn't look like a free kick, so we'll slow it down and have a look. Potentially there is an arm chop there, but I don't think it's conclusive enough to call a free kick. I've seen far worse get away with it. Play on. This one was a little stiff. The umpire has called Hipwood to stand. He doesn't hear shit, runs off, and the umpire with no choice has to pay this a free kick.
Just have a listen to the umpire.
Stand! 50 metres, I told you to stand!
The annoying thing with this is that all common sense goes out the window. Clearly Hipwood didn't hear the umpire nor was looking at him at the time, expecting his teammate to stand the mark instead. As much as I don't want to, agreeing with the umpire on this one, he told him loud and clear early on and Hipwood could have very well stood the mark at this position. Holding on McInerney in the ruck contest, first around the body then over the shoulder, simple call. Walsh and Curnow combine for a goal and an extremely happy gangster in Walsh shoves Curnow down a step, walks away like a fucking boss. Curnow was like nah, shoves him back, laughing about it now. Yeah, I shoved you, mate. The shoulder into the body and the shove celebration like if I were Curnow, I'd be throwing a left-right goodnight. Sharp on the end of one, tries to avoid Shearer, but gets slung around, dispossessed, holding the ball. Young on the run through the outside wing, dispossessed for another holding the ball. Wiedering shanks a kick forward that really needed to work in and amongst three Lions players. The ball pushed further afield into the one-on-one and Cameron comes out clean like he does so many times. High contact paid as the second term is underway. Live it looked as though Ainsworth ducked the tackle, which would void the high contact and be fair game, but if we have a second look, he drops the knee as Motlop gets him high before he actually tries to duck underneath the contact. Drew the free kick nicely and well called. Straight after the free kick, goes down the line into the direction of Hipwood, who is hit high upon marking the ball, and the umpire deems this as high contact and not a mark, which is why it's included in this video. Silvani tries to spin out of a tackle, but Cameron leaps towards him and strips him of the ball. Incorrect disposal. An insufficient intent call to get the ball down towards the attacking end of the ground, kicked off the side of Sharp's boot, and Hipwood in close proximity was paid insufficient intent. Don't get me wrong, I understand that players need to make a genuine effort to keep the ball in play, but to gain ground coverage for your team and a kick that was off the side of the boot goes a little skewed is paid insufficient intent? It's a little bit f***ing harsh. Hollands chased by Hipwood with nowhere to go, close to the goals and the boundary line, pinged for holding the ball, though the ball did go out of bounds as the tackle was finishing, which are usually paid as a boundary throw-in. However, since he had time to dispose of the ball before this, holding the ball, prior opportunity. A random advantage is called for a free kick. I think it was for Walsh being held without the ball or shoved away from it, but the viewers at home aren't really able to see shit. The ball spills to Honey and Coleman with the tackle dispossesses him as he goes to kick the ball. Gunston with plenty of time tries to shrug Sard. Doherty comes in to finish the job and receives the free kick for holding the ball. Cripps being held for quite some time before this call is made, but at least the umpire got there in the end, holding the man. Insufficient intent call, fairly obvious with the handball straight towards the boundary line with no players nearby. Newman infringes Dunkley's marking attempt with a head-high contact free kick. This bit here really pissed me off even though I don't support them. Carlton leaving crucial space open for Gunston. All someone had to do was pretty much just stand there in that exact space. Like, how can there be so many players in the defense these days and not one of them stand in the correct position? Shearer taken high around the top of the jersey, straightforward call. Coleman now in a foot race with Honey. Coleman kicking the ball along the ground to keep it moving forward-ish, but applies one too many kicks along the ground toward the boundary for another insufficient intent call in the game. Could have played this off a little bit better than he did by bending over and intentionally fumbling it out of bounds. Now we have a non-call on an insufficient intent. Curnow kicking this one forward towards the boundary line and not paid. Looks as though even Curnow knew this was going to be paid but wasn't, and the Lions fans are not happy about it. If you're going to call this one deliberate, then by all means, this one is too. McCluggage picks up the ball, tries a little spin, but Chincotta says not f***ing today and throws him to the deck. Holding the ball, incorrect disposal or prior opportunity, pick either one. Hollands picks up a free kick for getting tackled high, brings the arm up which makes Rayner's tackle slip high, and if we're being consistent with one thing tonight, at least it's the high contact free kicks. McInerney blocked from the ball, looks like Pinnernet doesn't even know where the f***ing ball is, and McInerney has no opportunity to get to the ball. The ball is tapped down to Cripps under immediate pressure from Dunkley and throws the ball to Doherty, and the non-officiating umpire pays a throw and a free kick to the Lions. Having a look at the replay shows just that, and the correct decision was paid. McCluggage being held before even receiving the ball, another correct call. Neal is hit high off the ball by Newman with a glancing elbow to the chin and jaw area. I think Newman looked as though he was going for the chest, but Neal tried to brush him off with his arms, but Newman, too strong in this situation, follows through and hits Neal high.
Got him high. This is taking the piss and just falling blind. No, he's got him high.
I know it's Doherty saying this is taking the piss, you're full on blind, and that it's his 150th and what he has been through of recent times, but isn't this a little bit of dissent? He brings up the word piss and blind in the one sentence talking to the umpire. I'm glad the umpire saw this as a conversation, as this could have very well gone the opposite way. McInerney being held again, the tallest man out there becoming a real problem for the Blues. With no talls in the contests, you have to go for the man, but in this case wasn't disguised well enough. Rayner into the back of Wiedering, who was paid the push in the back free kick, but McCarthy says get f***ed and kicks at goalwood, and a 50-metre penalty is paid. Both calls correct. Blatant shove to the back of Wiedering, and then the umpire whistled about 19 times and the Lions players still didn't stop. We've got Kemp giving a 4-metre pass to Hewitt, who thinks it's a mark and tries to avoid the fierce Rayner tackle, but instead is dispossessed and pinged for holding the ball. Sharp blasts one down the line to a double 1-on-1, and in this moment Newman has to make the decision to either come off his man in Cameron, which is risky all in itself, or stay with him and hope that Young can track down Gunston. He decides the former and f***s up the ball slap contest, and Cameron gets to take home the chocolates. The idea was all right from Newman, but the execution was flawed, and 9 times out of 10 when you come off your man like that, you want to make damn sure you're going to win the ball, especially if that man is Charlie. Of course the ball pulling out like a 9-iron doesn't help, but Gunston saw the opportunity and took it. Brilliant passage of play. McGovern is pushed in the back while tapping the ball to Sard. Good call, seeming that he tapped the ball and never took real possession, because I think it would have been called differently otherwise. This one was almost paid as an off the ball free kick rather than a contested possession, which in hindsight probably was. A high contact call against Hipwood favours Young, clips him on the back of the head, and a slight arm interference as well. Cameron on the end of another goal. I think that's his 4th, but in this case it doesn't matter because these 3 do. Getting stuck straight into the Blues supporter, had a bit to drink in the night, and there's nothing else this man can do other than take it and join in at the end. Bloke on the right. Yeah, Johnny! Whatever the f*** that is. I think the last few brain cells of this poor man has made him punch the drink out of this bloke's hand. Little bit of karma, great to see. Honey gives a good tackle to Lester, who eats it up and pops it out like a baby. Many angry fans about this one, but this non-call was a 50-50 in the fact that 1, he didn't have prior opportunity, making one side of the story correct, but did he make a genuine effort to correctly dispose the ball for this not to be paid incorrect disposal? It's hard, and so is life. Since the ball popped out of nowhere, I think we give benefit of the doubt to the umpire. This entire chat hardly mattered because not only 10 seconds later Hipwood ends up with the ball, he plays on when he had no one to go to and gets staunched by Sard, making up for the non-decision for those against that one. McInerney again wins a free kick, this time a high one. There's always going to be a tussle with the 2 ruckmen, but Pitternet slipped one high. I don't know if anyone else was as flabbergasted as me, but when this shot came on, I nearly fainted. How the f*** are you going to take Young off when he's the only defender taking intercept marks? This mother motherfucker is as shocked as I am, and no, as a matter of fact, I was kind of pissed when I saw this, but oh well. Fucking huge win for the Lions, taking a key defender out of the game. Not only did I notice that Young was benched, but I also saw that Kennedy wasn't even in the game to start with, which again is completely fucked, but each to their own, Carlton. I think as soon as the fans saw who was subbed off and the goal kicked by Bailey, they said it and left. The third quarter hasn't even finished and the fans are bailing. Got this guy happily waving by, a few more fans heading off to Revs, just fucking shell-shocked with what is happening. 108-point win last week to now this shit at home. I love that it goes through a bunch of different fans like a fucking movie, then cuts to the main protagonist and we get Vossi looking upon as you can clearly see in this man's head, that he wants to leave as well. Fourth quarter brings a bunch of holding the man free kicks with an early-ish one to Cripps, clear as day this one. Wiedering is held during the contest as well. A Brisbane free kick for holding now against Mackay. Replay shows a slight jumper pull on Andrews, although it was slight, it was there and the consistency is as well. Wiedering held again in another marking contest, not necessary from the Lions players when they're down a key defender. Ashcroft draws a high free kick. He makes Doherty's hand slip above the arm into the shoulder to draw the free kick. Rayner then takes possession with Pryor is slung in a Newman tackle and just gets the slightest of boots to it. Fast forward another few seconds and Kerno run down from behind by Sharp holding the ball. Charlie Kerner this time on the end of the ball runs into a wall of Lions, tries to fend with the arm out, losing prior opportunity and pinged for holding the ball. Apparently this is front on contact, disagree with this one. Akers eyes only for the ball, and I know you can still make front on contact while looking at the ball, but he didn't even touch Dunkley. Obvious call on Chera, tackled high, drew the free kick nicely with the lunge into the arm of McCarthy. Dunkley in chase of the ball towards the boundary, doesn't take possession but is being held without it, another straightforward call. Last 5 minutes and the Lions can around with it a bit here, although they completely around with it with this kick backwards. Laziest shit I've seen and quite funny from a spectator's point of view. Glad that Durden never gave up all night, always raring and always wanting a chance. Sharp kicks his first goal in the AFL and only 2 to 3 players come over and give him a couple of high fives. Quite disappointing, even if you're knackered, get around the young man and celebrate the first goal. If you were the coach in Fagan, you'd want to make damn sure the players get around him next week if he kicks another. To finish it off, Berry makes a quality lead in clear vision of Ainsworth and he wasn't hit up. I'd be suing Ainsworth for malpractice. Although it wasn't Carlton's night, fans leaving at 3/4 time is quite sad and it's nothing against them. Carlton need to formulate more than one game plan during a match. It was clear early on they wanted fast ball movement to get it to one-on-ones in the forward 50, but as soon as the Lions team knew, they took advantage and scored heavily against them. The called umpiring decisions in the end saw a 40-3 sheet, meaning that in my eyes, of course, were of high standard within the game. As I continue to complete these umpiring editions of the in-depths, I'll be sure to include a meter on how accurate they were as I have more data to play with. As I mentioned, this is something a little different and new, but all the more fun, looking into the umpiring decisions of a game to see how it unfolds once all the pieces are collected. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment with your opinions down below, and subscribe because PlayOnAFL, things do better with fun and laughter.